case over on Rumble. Of course, we will unpause and then repause. We've got some good news actually to cover today. We're going to revisit the weed article with Trump, but that's because it's something that actually matters for the state of Vermont. Of course, weed was legalized here quite some time ago, but at the federal level, it's technically still highly illegal, which makes no sense. I mean, they're not enforcing it, but at the same time, it's still on the books. This was a problem under Obama, actually, of all presidents. It was funny because the liberal president was the one that was actually still sending the feds out to raid dispensaries in Montana and Idaho for giving out medical marijuana, because technically it is still illegal. First, we're going to talk about the two-article Trump impeachment effort. This is by Al Green, and how dumb that is. It's going to fall through. It's not going to get through the House. It's completely meaningless. It's just a symbolic gesture. We all know this, and so we'll be ridiculing him. We've got more of the, which one is it now? H5N1 antibodies have been found in bats, actually. So they're trying to make the public panic over bird flu, like they have been for some time. They're trying to convince people effectively to be vegans, because plants can't get bird flu. So, animal products, they might be unsafe, even though pasteurization has been shown 100 times out of 100 to denature it, and therefore it is completely safe. So unless you're eating raw milk from an infected cow, there's no chance of you getting bird flu from that. They don't want even people to be vegetarians, I guess, at this point. They want them to eat the bugs, quite literally. We've seen this a number of times. It's been quite literally something that they've been pushing for several years. Let's not idolize AI. That's an age-old mistake. I have a different take. I think that AI can save the human race, actually. And not just because Grok does so well at labeling things and changing images. Sometimes it's hit or miss. Like I tried to take that arrest photo of me and have them swap out the pirate hat for a Santa Claus hat, but every time I tried, I was looking backwards, like my head had turned around, like the kid in The Exorcist, like Regan in The Exorcist. Yeah, it didn't quite work out so well. Just saying. And then we'll be talking about the Japanese bear crisis. Actually, I believe that there is an article missing here. Oh no, I just had them out of order. Never mind. Copium poppies. Damn, took you a while. Was about to go check Kiwi Farms to see if they arrested you again. Lol. No, I'm here. I am actually present, believe it or not. The Dead Night Tiger. What costume should Styx wear for his next arrest? I guess maybe I'll dress as Santa Claus or something like that. That'd be funny. Ah, yes, Occult Priestess is here. Actually developed an instrumental for me earlier that I'm going to be using that image as a cover, basically. Probably sing along to it, or maybe just upload the instrumental. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Talk Woman, Sandy Ravage, jury nullification in Charlie Kirk murder case? Doubtful. In that particular case, it's probably not going to end in jury nullification. It'll probably end in guilt. FB, drunk pirate sticks. Well, I am definitely piratical, but I am not drunk. Believe it or not. But yeah, we've got a lot of news to cover today. I've got actually, how many other, I've got, I think, 8 other news stories in the docket. We'll see if we can get to any of them, though. The problem is, when you limit the time that you're actually on stream, you can only cover so many things. That's why, generally, I only put the links in for the ones that I know that I'm going to cover. The other ones are sort of optional. It's like, we've run out of, meaningful news to talk about. Let's talk about something else. There is some other good news, actually, here, though, as well. But I wanted to end with the Japanese bear epidemic, because it's actually become apparently a bit of a problem. Japan, and I didn't know this until a couple of years ago, has a very healthy bear population. They live up in the mountains and stuff, places where you can't really develop anyway. And they come down from the mountains and occasionally they maul people. There have been more considerably damaging bear attacks in Japan than in the whole of the United States, actually, for a number of years. And we have grizzly bears and shit. Theirs are like the Asian black bears and stuff like that. And it's no longer just in the rural areas. No, they're spreading because they've got such a wide habitat that, there's nothing to really be done about it. There was a famous case, this was, I think, 300 or 400 years ago, where a bear mauled people over and over again. It was entering homes and just ripping them apart, and it killed animals and everything else. Finally, they managed to kill it, but even the dragoons that they dispatched couldn't actually get it. And so it sort of became legendary. I can't remember the name of the legendary bear, but there's actually a statue of it in Japan. I'd like to see it sometime. Kobe and Poppies. Dresses blackface SS officer next arrest. Yeah. And people are saying, and of course, snap the noodles. No, do not snap the noodles. Italians will kill you. Spider Eternal. You might say Styx is a float risk. Am I right? Terrible. Anyway, hope your legal case goes well. I'm optimistic about it. Based on what I'm seeing, I'm not particularly worried. It's a pile of horseshit. But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about the news. Harrison Bergeron, say a news story claiming about a vaccine for fentanyl. Pharma going call everything a vaccine so as to bypass the liability to the taxpayer. They're claiming that there's a vaccine for fentanyl now. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense. Fentanyl is totally a virus. Yeah, they've got a big problem in Japan with that. It's funny because most people think bears are hyper dangerous unless you're stupid enough to approach them or leave your food out in the garage and they stumble into there. Generally speaking, they do not attack humans because we hunted them to, in some cases, near extinction. So the ones that were left are the ones that are scared of humans because they are capable of comprehending that they will be killed if they attack a human. Occasionally you get a rogue or a sick animal or something like that. This has happened with lions and others before. You look at the lion attack incidents actually in the British railroad system in Africa. In the end, it turned out that it was a couple of very old adults that were missing most of their teeth. They were no longer capable of predating in the normal way, so they hunted after humans because humans are stupid. FB, it's called Narcan. Yeah, I think that people should carry Narcan with them, just in case they find somebody passed out on the street on fentanyl. It's probably a good idea. Yeah. Snake Spleeterhead, his mind has transformed into a vaginal fluid detecting unit. Interesting. You need Narcan, bro. I have never used an opioid. Well, I mean, I used a Vicodin exactly once. And one time I used Percocet after they took my wisdom teeth out, but I vomited, and so I said, fuck this shit, and flushed it down the toilet. I'm not interested in opioids. Nope, no thank you. I know better. That's a bad idea. Stick to soft drugs if you're going to use them at all. House Dem to force Trump impeachment vote on 2 articles. Representative Al Green, Democrat from Texas, no wonder there, has forced House vote on impeachment articles within 2 legislative days. Yes, and the vote will fail, and he'll be salty. He'll go on the news, and he'll say, oh, I tried my very best to stop evil Orange Man, but the House Republicans blocked me. I was unable to do anything. We'll try again later because, they probably will. This is petulant, boring, insane nonsense. You have a budget crisis, which is still technically ongoing. You have a border crisis. You have diplomatic crises, various ones. You have all sorts of problems in the government, economics in general. Inflation is still, unfortunately, not corralled. It's been stabilized, but it hasn't been reduced. So you have all of these issues that actually impact people on a day-to-day basis. What do? Try to impeach Donald Trump knowing full well he's not going to get removed from office for absolutely no reason whatsoever. Green's impeachment filing accuses Trump of calling for the execution of 6 Democratic lawmakers, which never happened, and of making threats of violence against judges, which also never happened. The former refers to Trump's reaction after Democratic lawmakers urged members of the military to refuse illegal orders. President Trump is an abuser of presidential power, who, if left in office, will continue to promote violence, engender invidious hate, undermine our democracy, and dissolve our republic, Green said in a statement. Hyperbole, thy name is. This makes absolutely no sense. It's completely nonsensical attempt at impeachment. It's simply grandstanding. Al Green wants to be able to go on CNN, basically. That's basically what it boils down to. It's completely stupid. There's a 0% chance Trump gets impeached or removed from office based on his comments. No reasonable person would say, hey, he's calling these people out for treason and saying, hey, if you commit treason, typically the result is you get executed. He is not wrong when he says that. How can you impeach him for pointing out the obvious? He's not threatening you. He's saying that that is what has happened before in the United States and certainly in many other countries. So why are you complaining about this? I would not support executing people for treason myself. I'd put them in the Colosseum. Oh, it would be much worse for them if I was president of the United States. Then I'd take some of those Japanese bears. I'd say, hey, can I get a couple of bears from Hokkaido or something like that? I think I'm going to need them and need to bring them over here. Don't worry, we'll pay you good. Then you simply bring the Asian black bears over and let them rip somebody to shreds. You know, deprive them of food for a couple days. They'll be hungry and, then they'll go to town. That would be funny as hell. It would probably be for the best in Al Green's case. Shung Mares. When people ask my religion, I say I'm a Christian, but Crip. Haha, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Al Green he's been nuts for a while. He's been nuts. It's sort of like Benny Thompson there when he got into it with Kristi Noem actually yesterday. These people are not playing with a full deck. There's something wrong with them mentally. It's quite clear. They don't appear to understand reality, neither on a pragmatic, like a political level, nor on, an ethical, moral, civilized level. They just don't seem to understand it. They seem to simply be there to sponge up money and pretend to represent other people while actually not doing their job. Vaccine for fentanyl, Jesus Christ. Mike here. This Italian breaks the noodles, and anyone who's not eating the broken noodles shouldn't cry and weep about it. Clank. All right. My fellow Italian. Yes, I can gesticulate as well. Antonio, you broke the noodle. Why you do this? Your mother will be all the time crying. I can't wait to make that, by the way. The Antonio and Mario story. That's what I'm talking about. Oh shit, I'm sorry. Did Styx get arrested? Yes, indeed I did. Yeah, but I mean, I'm such a terrible threat to society. They released me in less than 24 hours without any bond. So, yeah, that gives you an indicator of how seriously they're taking this bullshit case. Musically assured destruction. Is postmodernism just anarchy with extra steps? No, I would say it's fascism with extra steps. Postmodernism is an erasure of everything that is actually aesthetic and culturally significant, I would say. So it's basically an attempt to re-envision society. It's the same thing as so-called progressivism, socialism, things of that nature. It's an authoritarian system. It has nothing to do with actual anarchy. Leon, false charges? Yes. Shung Manes, Styx, as young as I am, I have the feeling that my time is near. I like my temporal body and I know what it is, but I have women to fuck. Yeah, exactly. There are things to live for in the world. It's funny because people were judging my home's structure based on what used to be a garage, which is now a storage space. So, yeah, it's a little bit messy out there. That does not reflect on the rest of the home. Rest of the home is actually pretty good. It's well tended to and clean and orderly. Musically assured destruction. I ask because Vaush can't define what water is. Well, he can't define what his dick is because he can't find it. So yeah, he's got some problems. Remember when they were trying to astroturf Vaush and the other so-called bread tubers, and they were algorithmically hijacking, but then they changed the algorithm and they just disappeared off the face of the earth? Well, I warned you. They're doing the same thing to me right now, by the way, with the algorithm. But I warned content creators, all of these political differentials between us are effectively peanuts, because if they start fucking with the algorithm, they're not going to stop with people that they at first didn't like, because management changes. But nobody listened to me, so, now they're screwed too. Fragile Wolf, what are your thoughts on brutalism? It's good in its own place. I do not have a problem with some brutalism scattered around, but I prefer classical architecture. I like Art Nouveau. I like Art Deco. I like sort of the Dutch cottage sort of decor and stuff like that. I really prefer more of the countryside decor than brutalism. But sometimes it's okay. Like, there's a brutalist, it's a lecture hall at UVM that I used to have to go to for my chemistry class, actually. And it looks hideous. But the hideousness makes it almost beautiful in a way, as long as it's adjacent to surroundings where you have, like, the classic architecture, because it creates a contraposition. So in its own place, it is very artistic, chic, and fun. But it has to be contraposed. If you just have, like, a Soviet, like a commie block city or something, it's just ugly. It just looks terrible, Bystander Syndrome. Sticks, can you fix that half-disconnecting plug in the video in your garage and post-proof? I'm triggered, and we need you to live, not die in electrical fire. Straight out of Rutland. Sticks with attitude. I'll take a look at it. Yes, several people have mentioned that to me. I am not responsible for what goes on in the garage. That is not my territory, just to be clear. Shung Maris. I bought a couple of your books yesterday. I wish I could get them signed by you. Should I send you a letter with Federal Reserve enclosed in it? Yeah, I would be willing to sign them. Absolutely. Vulcus is trying to fuck me in the ass again. You do this every time. The hell? Anyways, let's get to our sponsors before we get to the rest of the news, of course. We have cultivated-mind.com, where you can get mushroom pills. I've only got one left in this bottle. That's a real big problem, by the way. I'm going to have to take that, actually, right now. Now it's empty. Oh, well, shit. Also, you can get Doggy Dose for your doggos. This creates more vigor, more energy. It really does work. I've been taking these every single day for months. They do work. They give you more energy. It's equivalent to drinking a couple cups of coffee, actually. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works, but I can attest to the fact that it works. Secondly, we've got BiltOnUSA.com. That's what I'm talking about. Anton can hook you up with various meats. Wagyu, Angus, Cabanassi, bison, venison, and pretty much anything else that walks or, crawls. He's probably turned it into some sort of preserved meat. We've got Stick, Sex, and Hammer mugs, tumblers, and shirts available. And also, of course, your own favorite. Oh, right. Along with other imports. Goddamn delicious. Thinking I'm having Taco Friday. I would have had Taco Thursday, but I was in jail, so I'm probably going to have Taco Friday. I'm thinking about if Bovrite would actually go well, like you put a dab in it in the meat. I'm going to probably test it out. I'm going to try it. And then finally, you have jamandbean.com. JAMNbean.com. Sent me a very, very nice holiday package. Clanker coffee. Get the Clanker blend, trust me. It's way better than, like, fucking Folgers or something like that. Also, various teas available. One of them, by the way, and this is funny, is called Pirate's Plunder. It's a black tea, so this is caffeinated, with rooibos, coconut, apple, cocoa, and vanilla. And I did have it before. Delicious. Absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to drink that one, too. Let's take our mushroom pill. So those are our sponsors. I'm just having fun. Yeah, it's funny how more people reacted to the arrest photo there by saying I looked cool because they're literally dragging a pirate to the police car. I thought that was funny. I will admit that that was humorous to me. And, like, there's nothing I can do about the fact that the charges exist or anything like that, so I might as well just have fun and meme about it. So, yeah, there's going to be a song and everything else. Maybe I'll make a whole album about the concept. Bob Jones, your old man seems like a cool dude. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, I felt completely safe because my dad is a former Marine sergeant from the Vietnam era, so, if any rough stuff comes up, I don't really have to worry, now do I? But I'm not going to aggress the police anyway. It's like, okay, you cuff me, you process me, tell me the charges, you release me. The only problem that I had is I had to walk home through the cold because, of course, they took my phone away. Whoops. There was no way to call a taxi, so to speak. Ah, King of Biltong is here. Hello, Anton. In celebration of Anton, we always get an extra dab. He will say it is too salty. He will perpetually be wrong. Yummy. I love Bovrite. Yeah, the South Africans do it best. Vegemite's fine if you smear it on toast. And Marmite's fine, I guess. I'm not a huge fan of Marmite. The Bovrite is definitely the best. 12:30 instant noodles. Yes, that is a good point. If I could go back, then during my arrest, I would have rambled about the assizes and damn your eyes and things like that. And about how I'm being arrested for stealing a frigate or something like that. That would have been more funny. I neglected to do so because, it is kind of a serious situation, so it's not exactly the time to make a big bunch of humor. So, yeah. Al Green has introduced impeachment vote on 2 articles. It will fall through. It won't even get through the House. There's a 0% chance it gets through the Senate, so fuck it. Bats might be the next bird flu wild card. Vampire bats in Peru show signs of past H5N1 infection. Ooh. So basically, humans are going to get infected with bird flu and we're all going to die because of a vampire bat in Peru. So it reminds me a little bit of the plot of Last Man on Earth. You know, the one with Vincent Price, where he gets bitten by a vampire bat? And spoiler alert, so, close your ears if you haven't seen the movie. He gets bitten by a vampire bat at one point, and he gains immunity to a virus that becomes completely airborne, travels the world, and kills basically everyone. Those that don't die effectively become vampire zombies. And Vincent Price is much better than the Will Smith version, by the way, I Am Legend. Much, much better. Iconic movie, Vincent Price, he always gets an A+ in acting from me. But it was a great movie. In fact, I might watch it fucking later. Might as well, because it's funny. And he becomes immune. And he gives his blood to a chick that has, like, the zombie virus. They've developed a serum in order to prevent, the general effects of this particular virus, the handful of survivors. But they're all infected. So if they don't take the serum, they basically turn into zombie vampires. And he transfuses her, and she is cured. And I like the religious iconography, actually, at the end, when he gets killed in the church. And the insinuation is she's basically now the savior. She's got pure blood. pure-blooded. She's got spike protein-free blood, and so now she can transfuse other people, and then they can be cured. She has saved mankind. Very, very good movie, 10 out of 10. Should watch it. But as far as the bird flu goes, come on. We've already determined that the food supply is fine because pasteurization denatures the virus, so that's not an issue. There's no indicator that there's any human-to-human transmission, so that's not an issue. If it mutates, it could become a problem. But if it mutates, I'm going to assume that it originated in Wuhan at this point. Honestly, I don't trust these people for anything with regards to epidemiology. It seems like somebody is trying to reduce the surplus population. Interesting now. Yeah, so Omega Man. I have not actually seen Omega Man, but I've seen the original Vincent Price variant of the... It's not quite 100% from, the original stock, but it was a very, very good movie. In fact, I would say it improves upon, the original source. Yeah, let's put some mRNA vaxes in our food. Let's involuntarily give people experimental drugs and stuff like that. They've done that before, actually. The U.S. government has actually engaged in that sort of behavior. Mike here. Remember George Carlin talking about the government and media trying to scare us with bird flu back in 2007? Yes, they never stop with the fear-mongering. Yeah, they're trying to scare you so that you'll give them more power. Well, you've got a problem. It's a real big problem. Quick, give us more money, give us more power, we'll take care of it for you. Whenever they do that, or they say, think of the children, they are inevitably lying. It's like a 100% success rate in guessing that they're lying. But nobody ever realizes this when they're doing the lying. 2 or 3 years later, then they realize they're lying. For instance, with the COVID vax, we were told, it's safe, effective, you won't get sick, blah, 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 blah. Now, the FDA is considering putting a black box warning on the COVID vaccine. I reported on this morning. This is from the FDA. This is a government agency. Well, I mean, how higher can you get as far as a determinant that, hey, this is not something you should probably be taking unless you have a particular circumstance. It never should have even been made available to anyone who is under 65 and or not immunocompromised or had some sort of other fucked up problem. Those are the only people that ever should have gotten the vaccine. But if you limit it to that cohort of people, how are you supposed to make a profit? Well, there's your answer. It's all about the goddamn money. And all about psychological control over the population. FB, Planet of the Apes, also a very good movie with Heston. Yes. Yeah, that was, it wasn't as good as Last Man on Earth, I would say. But it was a good movie. The remake was, tolerable, I suppose. I saw that one, too. Can't remember who was in it, but because it's less memorable. Everyone remembers Charlton Heston in his roles. Ministry of Wrongthink. So what the fuck? Garcia just gets to live free in Maryland? I don't even know what that refers to, so yeah. Occult Priestess. Eugenics in action. Yes, exactly. People who make unwise decisions have a lower survivability rate. Exactly. I don't have any spike proteins inside of me. I never took the jabby McJab. Even though they tried to coerce you over and over to take it, they're like, you're gonna die! You're gonna kill Grandma! Think of the children! As soon as they said think of the children, think of the helpless old people, it's like, what the fuck has the government done for the helpless? What do they do for it? They give them breadcrumbs, so that Grandma can choose between feeding herself and buying her insulin. That's what the government does. You think I trust them worth a shit? Yeah, good luck, dude. Yeah, my IQ is in the triple-digit range, not the very, very low double-digit range to the point where all I can do is pick turnips. You have to be mentally retarded to trust the government. It doesn't matter what administration it is, what party is in control, what country you're in. Never trust the government. If they say think of the children, yeah, you should think of the children by opposing them because they're quite clearly doing something terribly wrong. So I pill myself up with vitamins and mushroom extracts and stuff. I haven't had an illness really in, well, now almost 7 years, I suppose. I'm pure-blooded. I never took the jab. I'm never going to take the jab. You can trust me on that. Try and hold me down and give me the jab. See what fucking happens. The needle will be going elsewhere. Shungmud Ace, Sticks, you missed my super chat. Drop your Eddie again. I forgot it, and I'll refer to this video for it. Fried watermelon crisps. Oh, crips. I'm walking back from the store, and an Asian lady almost hit me in the parking lot. Repeal the 19th and ban Asian drivers. Oh, that's an old joke. Used to be that they would joke about that on, like, South Park or something like that, but they're not allowed to do that anymore. RCW, Somalians can't even pick turnips. Yeah, no, actually, that would be above that threshold. But, yeah, I mean, there was no reason to take the jab. Especially in the case where you're self-employed, so that's a little bit of an advantage. So your workplace can't force you to get the jab. It would have been funny, though. This would have been hilarious. YouTube forces people to take the jab in order to have a channel. You have to provide proof of the fact that you got the jabby McJab or something. I am spike protein free. I never got sick with COVID. I never took the jab. And I'm very, very proud of myself for, making the correct decision, which now the FDA itself is actually justifying as opposed to bending to peer pressure. Because it was always bullshit. Let's not idolize AI. That's an age-old mistake. This is from TNJ in WAPO, the Klavan Step Out, actually. This is from the New Jerusalem, basically. Good. Kingdom of Heaven reference, I suppose. Good movie, by the way. Kingdom of Heaven, not entirely historical and canonical, but definitely a very good movie. Here's my thoughts on AI. It could actually save the human race. Humans will be displaced by robotic systems unless we learn to make our own workload more efficient. AI can help do that. There are problems. It needs more development. It needs to be more refined. But generally speaking, overall, it's working very well. You can make songs. You can make poems. You can make whole stories. You can make art. You can make memes, which is probably the most fun part of AI, by the way. Case in point, check my Twitter channel and look at the banner. And things along those lines. I think that AI is effectively an externalized cybernetic implant of sorts, in which humans are capable of competing effectively with robots, which are already being hooked up to AI as well. But a human can multitask. A robot cannot. Robotic processing systems are generally much, much better than humans, but only at one or two tasks. Humans are inferior at those tasks, but they are much better in general at many, many more tasks. So the sort of way in which the neurological component works favors humans if we are assisted by mechanical systems. We are capable of doing this. We don't need robots to pick the turnips. We need humans to go in there and figure out what's the most efficient way to do so. Effectively. Just saying. Bystander syndrome. Sticks, can you say back the blue? Ha 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 ha. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a back the blue sort of person, for fairly obvious reasons. But I don't believe in offering insult, to a cop just because, they're involved with talking with you or something like that, because many of them are quite respectful. They're just trying to do their job. If they're not beating you down with a nightstick or tasing you or something like that, I mean, whatever. It's all good. I like it when they use their nightsticks and tasers on Antifa members, though. Shung Manes, Pure Blood Crips. I was kicked out of the Marine Corps for not taking the Fauci ouchie. My apologies. Biden owes you apology, too. Yeah, there are many such cases. I think how many people got kicked out of the military because they refused the vaccine? And now they're saying, oh, well, we shouldn't have made it mandatory in the beginning. Now they're putting a black box warning on it. All of those people should be immediately reinstated if they want reinstatement at all. And given restitution, actually. They didn't leave voluntarily. They were kicked out. Biden said, come on, man, you don't take this motherfucking jab, I'm gonna kick you out of the military. I'm a commander-in-chief. I'm a big boy. Then he went and he drank his prune smoothie and had his bran muffin. And his wifey changed his socks for him because, you know, he wouldn't be able to do it himself. And then he took a nap. That was your commander-in-chief for 4 years. My condolences. FB, my buddy got eye herpes from the jab. What the fuck? Huh. I mean, I wouldn't even fucking disbelieve that. Oh, JM Jink, the vaccines gave me the herp. So you're saying that there was like a tainted batch and people were getting herpes from it? This happened before. I remember there was a news story. This was 2011, somewhere around there. And there was a lab actually producing vaccines. And they gave a bunch of people, what was it? Spinal meningitis, actually. They gave them meningitis from the vaccine. They didn't process it correctly. They didn't store it correctly. And the lab was all fucked up, and there were like pictures of mold on the walls and stuff like this. It's like, yeah, this is a real Compton medical complex. Looks a little bit like the Wuhan lab, I suppose. And a bunch of people died, actually, including children, as a result of this because of their vaccines. So, you know, I do not trust the medical complex. Given my own choice, I will take care of my own health. I will eat lots of veggies and yummy things, grow my own food when possible. I will get my protein. I'll take my vitamins. Those at least are reliable, although there are studies showing they may not be nearly as effective as they should be. I'll do all of that. And of course, I'm going to eat plenty of meat along the way. I don't care if the animal suffered before it died. Give me the goddamn steak. I'm sorry, you know, Porky, but you know, bacon is really, really tasty, so I'm sorry I've got to slit your throat. That's basically the way to do it. As long as Porky had a nice life before he got killed, he was killed more humanely than out in, you know, the wild, with a lion ripping his throat out and sitting over him toying with the body or something while he bleeds out. It's a little bit quicker in a slaughterhouse. Humans are very interesting creatures. Xiong Marais, I'm only reenlisting if Sergeant Warwick is my squad leader. My mother is an offshoot of the QAnon cult. She thinks that Trump is God Emperor. Yeah, he's not God Emperor, but he is doing generally a good job. And yeah, apparently there was a Sergeant Warwick in Star Wars or something like that. Some stormtrooper or something. It's interesting. Yeah, no, I wouldn't lead. There's no possibility of me. There's no possibility that I could ever train hard enough to join the Marines. But I can be a pirate. We'll get a fishing trawler. We'll go out and we'll attack the Venezuelans. Apparently, you know, you get a letter of marque at this point, so whatever. Copium poppies. Dan Crenshaw got eye socket herpes from one of his gay lovers. Oh, he got fucked in the eye? It wouldn't really surprise me if he got fucked in the eye. And you pull your eyeball out, and you're like, okay, stick it in there, and then I'll pop it back in. I want your sperm in my brain. Dan Crenshaw would be the kind of person that on that token, I wouldn't even particularly doubt it, honestly. He's one weird dude, one weird motherfucker. Apache. AI isn't artificial intelligence, it's just a fancy chatbot, but boomers think it's Star Trek. That mistake may ruin the economy when they keep pushing it. It is more advanced than you're giving it credit for. It is. That being said, there are limitations. It will advance, though. I mean, over the last couple of years, we've seen it go from really, really rudimentary to being much, much more sophisticated. You can make music videos and effects for them. You can generate music itself, lyrics, poems, literature. You can have it search the web. What I use Grok for mainly is actually as a web search. I no longer use Google generally. I use Grok because Grok is so much better than Google. In fact, if it continues at the rate that it's continuing to develop, eventually I think that Google is going to die. I think that Google, as far as the web searching services, is going to be displaced, and Grok will replace it. It is that good. I mean, look at that Classiques Nouveau song that I found. I had been searching for that fucking song since I was a goddamn teenager. And I tried everything that I could on Google, looking up the snippets of lyrics that I could remember and giving it the parameters that I could possibly give it to try to find this song. Nothing. I go to Grok after 2 goddamn prompts. It gives me the right song that I hadn't heard since I was, 16 or something like that. I'm like, oh, well, that was easy. This is pretty great. AI is very, very useful, actually. I am extremely pro AI. Lunar Eclipse Reborn! Sticks, why is Trump seizing Venezuelan oil? Haha, is this really about drugs? Is it time to dump Trump now? No, because ostensibly you're searching the ship because there are probably drugs there too. This is part of what's called the Black Fleet. Venezuela has a shit ton of ships that operate illicitly and run drugs and other contraband around the world. It's sort of a little bit like a bunch of pirates. Well, why don't we issue letters of marque? Let me take a fishing trawler, armor it up, and huddle alongside one of these ships, aim the deck gun at them and threaten to shoot them, and then I'll take the oil myself. Give me a cut. I'll bring it back to the United States along with the ship. You can scrap it, and then everything's it's just business. I just have to learn how to drive a ship, you know? It's kind of important when you're a pirate captain. It's kind of important to know how to actually steer the vessel. Shouldn't take too long. I'm assuming it's not that much more complicated than driving a car, and I'm pretty good at that, so. Including in Vermont weather. Try driving a car up here. It could be a little bit difficult sometimes. You should have seen it one time when I was with my first ex-wife. I'm in my dad's little Aveo. This is a little 4-cylinder car. It's basically, it looks like a miniaturized Volkswagen. And I'm driving back home through a goddamn blizzard on unplowed roads. And I made it. I managed to make it work. I even gunned it up the hill to Chisana Drive, which, by the way, is no small task when it's snowy. If they have not sanded and salted it, good luck. But I managed to make it. Copium Poppies. He got skull fucked. Shung Madace. Fuck Dan Crenshaw. Sticks would be a great Marine. When she shout out her channels, could you display it like you used to? The Unholy Trinity. Follow, follow, follow. Drunk Lynx versus Crocodile Puppy. Am I capable of, no, I don't think that I am. Because you're commenting on Rumble, I don't think that I can actually feature, the chat. Shung Madace, I am at 444 Chasana Drive, Rutland, Vermont, 05701. Everyone already knows my address anyway. It's already publicly available. So yeah, if anyone wants to send me a glitter bomb or something like that, well, now you know where to send it. Haha, it's pretty funny. I get all sorts of cool stuff from people from all around the world. Like, I mean, this was sent by a subscriber too. This is one of the coolest things that I own. Yeah, also very mimetic. Yeah. I get stuff from, I get stuff from Japan, I get stuff from Europe, I get stuff from around the United States, and I enjoy it. I really do. When people send me anything, even if it's just a postcard or something like that, I actually have saved every single piece of mail, every single postcard that I've ever received. They're in a fireproof safe for a reason. I saved every single one of them because they give me joy. It makes me think like I'm accomplishing something. But yeah, I don't mind if people know my address. I mean, people have swatted me anyway before and have been arrested on several occasions, so it doesn't really matter. I'm in no danger. KM 24, 25 IA. We get the negative temps this weekend. Hooray! Let me, tarred and feathered. CHASANNA. It's 444 Chisana Drive, Rutland, Vermont, 05701. But yeah, I mean, yeah, if you want to send me some weird shit, somebody might send me an explosive or a packet of fentanyl that'll kill me. It does not matter to me. What is the... Before I get to the, I think, last news story with the Japanese bears, oh yeah, the bottom's gonna drop out at the end of this weekend. Great, yeah, we're aiming for the negative temperatures, it seems, and lots of snow. And then by Thursday, it'll be tolerable, I guess. 42 is not bad. This time of year, if you hit 42 in Vermont, you're thankful. Although that might turn into an icy, rainy mix and then knock out the power. So we'll, we'll try. That's happened before. Copium poppies. We sent Sticks candy corn. Yes, you did. I still have it in the office. I'm gonna keep that fucking candy corn too. Maybe I'll try lighting it on fire or something like that. Shung Manis, I've known relatively what your Addy is. I've been watching you since I was 14, like mentioned last month. My mom is from Rio de Janeiro. Come through Long Beach and get you some Brazilian food. I would love Brazilian food right now, trust me. Tonight is taco night. I'll be making authentic Monterey-style tacos, the kind that you get in the eastern side of the Rio Grande Valley. Like, not the shitty ones, not with the hard wraps, and not the kind that gringos make where they may warm up the tortilla, and that's pretty much it, and the meat is unseasoned. Oh, hell no. This is going to be half seasoning. That's the way to do it. That's what I'm talking about. It's not meant to be a health food. Yeah, there's lettuce and tomato and stuff like that in it, so that part's healthy. The meat is not meant to be healthy. You're using low-fat meat and an unheated tortilla. There's something wrong with you, dude. King of Biltong, our great selection of imported candies, cookies, and of course, US-made biltong will make for great Christmas gifts. Go to www.biltongusa.com. Code STICKS for 10% off biltong. I strongly suggest that you get some. Time's a wasting. Christmas is only 13 days away, you know. Yes, Tenerife. My Mexican ex-wife was from Monterey. And so when I went to the Rio Grande, which is on that side of the border, not in Mexico, but I mean like that side of Mexico on the US side, I learned how to make tacos. And I figured out that it's actually a lot easier than I thought. I never knew that I could cook at all. She actually could make a really good lasagna, come to think of it. One time, there was a funny story. She made a lasagna, and she made it perfect. Oh, it was fucking delicious. But when I took it out of the oven, I accidentally burned myself, and something like, ow, and I accidentally dropped it on the floor. And she started crying. And I'm like, don't worry, darling. We'll take care of this. I scoop it back up, and I ate it like a trooper. Because, I'm not going to pass up lasagna number 1, and I didn't want her to be upset number 2. So yeah, I ate lasagna off the floor. It was relatively clean, who cares? I've had far worse than that. I ate the food in a Louisiana prison. But actually, that was a really, really good day. Actually, it might have been the best lasagna that I've ever had, honestly. She's Mexican. She's cooking Italian food as good as an Italian. That was really cool. I gorged myself on that. Lunar eclipse. Sticks. Why is Trump seizing Venezuelan oil? I already read that one. See, sometimes if you don't pull it all the way down, sometimes it goes up. I don't know exactly what it is with the super chats and the Rumble rants. Apache. AI and Grok often make up sources. While it can music, tons of people are being fired because they think it can do a job. Dune was right about AI, in my opinion. That makes it no different than Wikipedia, although it makes it a more intelligent version of it capable of scraping other sites instead of being a standalone. So far, I have actually checked scientific facts and things like that and asked Grok for sources. Most of the time, it's fairly accurate. The problem is that it also scrapes Twitter and other sites where people are simply giving opinions, or they may point to a study that doesn't exist. In fact, the next level of trolling would be if someone used a bot army to make comments about queryable searches and use sources that don't exist. This will happen. This will be the main attack on AI by people that do not like it or people that do not like specific AI sites that scrape the internet. Because it will scrape the entire internet effectively to slowly build what becomes the response. So if you can inject information that is not true, but make it look plausible, it will scrape it anyway, and it'll say, oh, there's a scientific study, it's peer-reviewed and everything like that. Now it's not. It's just a private website or a blog or something like that it's taking it from. That will be the way the AI gets debilitated. And this is why we do need to be careful with AI. I think that it can save mankind by creating enormously, vastly additional amounts of efficiency. But we have to use it right. But trolls will probably destroy it, so that'll be funny too. I mean, it'll be humorous at least. Simon Sundet. Sticks looks like Skalgrim with that flail. Yeah, having a flail is cool. Lunar Eclipse Reborn. Sticks, I just don't want regime change in Central South America back in the 80s via installing puppet dictators like Pinochet in Argentina. Pinochet was Chile, actually, not Argentina, I believe. And yes, I do not want regime change in Venezuela, because the alternative to Maduro is Maduro light plus destabilization, so it's not really going to make a difference anyway. It's meaningless. Just take the ships. Just fucking steal the ships. Don't even bother blowing them up. Just idle alongside them and say, you're going to die if you don't give us the fucking ship and everything in it. That's all you have to do. Mike B. Currently enrolled at the Culinary Institute of America. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Have you ever read Escoffier or Carame? Also, check out On Food and Cooking by Harold McGee. I've read a number of cookbooks and things on culinary arts. Like I have a copy of Tasting History's book. I have a copy of the Golden Ones book. I have a copy there are recipes in some of the things that I've edited in the past too. Because you gotta understand, some of those old bric-a-brac works, they included recipes. Sometimes it was like recipes for invalids and stuff like that. You got a lot of niche stuff. But there are some interesting recipes. I figure people back then, even without, anything else, as far as medicine goes that's of value, sometimes they live to be 100 years old. They must have been doing something right. Mike here. See you on Google Maps. I'd say it's a nice looking neighborhood, but there's pirates around getting arrested. I'll try to send something you'd like. Thank you. Bobby Robinson. He's definitely going in the clink again for violating his probation. That is false. That will not happen. Believe it or not. Shungmane Stick say the Unholy Trinity in Silberg Homero. Still waiting 3, that video. Everyone go listen 3, my Rumble exclusive song, Richer, featuring Liz Thru and Young Mutt Pingas. Sticks, why did you... No, I can't say that. For legal reasons, I will not read that out. Just to be clear... get me some Brazilian pussy? Okay, that's fine. Yeah. But no, I'm not going to raise up to that particular comment for legal reasons. That would be unwise. It's a good way to go to jail. See, some people are stupid. When they get into a legal problem and they have a public presence, the first thing that they do is appeal to the court of public opinion, not realizing that the court of public opinion cannot put them in jail. It's the actual court that can put them in jail. So shut the fuck up. Don't talk to anyone. Do not talk to that friendly cop that's trying to talk to you. They're talking to you for a reason. You do realize that, right? They can be as amenable as possible. You need to insist upon legal counsel being present. Don't be afraid. Call for your legal counsel. Tell them, I want an attorney. You know? That's what you do. It's okay if it's something innocuous. It's okay if it's something that's unimpeachable. But you have to be intelligent enough to actually tell the difference between that and just mouthing off and then hanging yourself legally. So, yeah, you should not talk to the police when they're trying to interview you. Keep shut. Keep your nose down. If you end up in jail, do not talk about your case to other inmates either, because there's always the possibility that one of them is a fed plant, quite literally. This has happened before as well. You do that. Don't offer anyone insult. Don't take insult, but don't offer anyone insult. Always size up the person who's trying to insult you and say, like, look, fucking leave me alone, basically. Snakes bleed red. This is how you are controlled. You see what pussy obsession does to you. I'm not under anyone's control but my own, actually. Although you seem to slightly dislike me sometimes. Sometimes you seem to like me. I don't know. I have no clue. Yeah, seriously, do not talk about your legal case beyond the very vague, especially in a public place, when you can help it. Talk to your lawyer and to, people that are directly allied with you, like your parents or something like that. Even then, though, this is a bit of advice that I got from my lawyer the first time around. This is now the third time around, by the way. The walls have ears. Be very careful about saying anything that could impact your case. You have to talk and think like a lawyer in order to get through this sort of shit. Be very careful, because when you're talking on the phone or something like that from a jail cell, somebody is listening to you. There are cameras in every single room. That is admissible evidence. Be very careful what you say. It's best to say as little as possible. Just saying. Bobby, you'll never be a woman. Nor would I want to, my dude. Although I don't know if you're actually referring to me. Are you talking to somebody who's trans in there? Honestly, Bobby, at this point, considering how retarded you are, I would rather be a trans person than be you. Honestly. And you're one of my favorite trolls. So what happened, dude? Everyone was celebrating the other day when I was in a jail cell and thought that I would probably rot in there for months. That doesn't appear to have been the case. What can I say? It's almost like I understand the legal system and 99% of the people that hate me do not. That's why they will lose. Yeah, indeed. Happens all the time. I can't wait to read some of these morbid stories, by the way, to people. I still have to make the blog post for the second one. In fact, I should probably open that now so I don't forget. Just give me a moment. I'm going to go to my blog spot. All right. Let's grab these links. That's what I'm talking about. We have Blogger and WordPress. What can I say? I had such a great time writing this. I think that a lot of you would really enjoy it. It's in a slightly different format than this first one. This first one, I compacted it so the sections are close together. Within the actual sections themselves, the story is sort of, there's no particular format beyond that. With the second one, I did it a little bit differently. And it's a little bit more compact. It's a little bit more efficient, in my opinion. So I improved on it even further. But I'm not going to redo the first edition of Morbid Stories because it's like, okay, I'm on my third edition. Come on. Yeah, at some point it's good enough, so to speak. And it is good, trust me. I'm going to be reading some of that later. It'll be funny. Shung Manes, if the Epstein files get released, nukes will fly. The powers that be will go through their bunkers, the Enclave, and then a month later, World War IV will happen. Come 3 long siege to be safe. Yeah, no, trust me, nobody's gonna waste a nuke on Rutland. If somebody did, then it would be like the ultimate retardation, honestly. They might send a conventional explosive to blow up part of the downtown or something, but nobody's going to waste a nuke on Rutland City. It's not big enough, it's not important enough, and it's filled with crazy people. Yeah, they probably wouldn't even die. It's, they're too crazy to die. Just saying. Yeah, I guess people are, having some sort of fight over trans rights or something over there. Shung Manes, I fucked my ex-girlfriend last night. She's married. Congratulations to you, my man. Sounds fun. Nothing wrong with that. She's willing. Everything's above board. You're adults. Maybe her husband's dick doesn't work too well. Well, you gave her pleasure. She gave you pleasure. Who gives a shit? Honestly, I do not care. I have totally never fucked a married person, by the way. No, that never happened. On multiple occasions. Green tea. Finally, I got more of the herbal tea from Jam and Bean. And I got quite a bit of coffee over there. Since they sent me more of that too. I mean, I got this sampler pack too, so I don't even know how I'm going to drink it all. Is that which is? Dude, I call it you would get out again. Stolas does this astrologically. This spirit signifies protection of criminals. Mostly it's teaching about herbs and gemstones and things like that. But yes, there is definitely a protective aspect. I fear nothing. That's why when I got arrested, you saw how chill I was. I'm like, okay, whatever. Bring me to the cell. Yeah. It's just boring. It was a waste of my time and everything else. But at the same time, I was never afraid. I knew that they would release me. Lunar Eclipse Reborn. Sticks, if Trump wants to fight drug trafficking, how about reining the CIA? I wish he would. Trust me, I wish he would. They're still pushing drugs for their black bag ops even today, am I wrong? No, that's why our armored trawlers, run by pirate captains, privateers, need to go out. We'll intercept them. We'll take care of them. No worries. It's just all of the stuff on board is now ours, so, we'll take what we can. We'll sink the ship with the deck gun, and then we'll call it a day. And then we'll bring those people back to Venezuela, maybe, or just, deposit them on the shore, and they can get arrested. It'll be fine. Chung Money, Sticks, me and that same ex-girlfriend used to watch you religiously in high school. Obviously, she doesn't watch you anymore. She's a pastor's daughter. 666 scares her. Oh, you mean that I can't fuck your ex? Just joking. I'm not going to try to. No, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I realize that my username frightens some people, which I don't personally understand, but I figure if someone's frightened by that sort of thing, they're probably not going to get along with me. It's definitely not going to lead to a long-term relationship. It's probably not going to lead to a one-night stand, and I've actually never had one in my life. I do not do that sort of thing. People might be actually a little bit nervous about me because I seem to be the edgy sort. I know this. I dress as a pirate, as you've seen with the arrest footage, but I'm actually pretty vanilla in that department. I'm not into weird shit. Bobby, I'm not going to talk anything about the arrest footage, or anything else for that matter, related to my legal case, because I'm not retarded. Cunt. Sticks beats women. That never happened, actually. I don't just plead not guilty, I plead not fucking guilty on that particular count. I have never beaten up a woman. Never happened, dude. Just a pile of bullshit, as usual. Happens all the time. When you are highly opinionated, you make a lot of enemies. Let's put it that way. No, Bobby, the Vermont charges are pirating a frigate and dog rape, actually, if I remember correctly. I never raped the dog, but I did steal the ship, so I'm probably going to be drawn up at the assizes and hanged by the lakeshore. Seriously. People, I see so much posted about me online that is so patently false, so obviously wrong, in every possible way, shape, and form, so easily falsified that I don't even bother to combat it because I'm hoping that they post more of it because it's so fucking funny. I'm finding this amusing. I don't give a shit. What are you talking about? Styx Hexenhammer parachuted into Israel today and took several captives and brought them back to Palestine. I mean, probably somebody will claim something like that, as absurd as it is at some point. It makes absolutely no sense. Skippy, Styx, go for 4 arrests in 1 year. You have 2 weeks left. Yeah, let's do a speed run. I'll go out and I'll drive a car drunk and smoke crack at the same time and then fire off several shots, at an officer with a gun that I don't have. See, it's kind of difficult when you don't have any firearms. So, yeah, I guess I'll have to run someone over instead. I'll run over a toddler or something. No, this is not going to happen. This is basically a pile of horseshit, this entire case. It really is. I am not guilty of these charges. I have maintained my non-guilt. I am not going to give any further specifics about them because that's a bad idea legally, it's a bad idea ethically, and it would involve throwing other people under the bus that I'm not inclined to throw under the bus. Because there are other people who have made claims about me that are patently false, but I'm just not interested. I don't care. So yeah, if you want to have e-drama, you're gonna have to go elsewhere, Bobby. I'm sorry for that. I know that this disappoints you. Shung Maurice, can we get a shout out to all the beautiful people here? You've been a great addition to this life. Clank, clank, clank. Valhalla! Yeah, I'd love to see Brazil. Yeah, Brazilian women? There's nothing wrong with that. What am I talking about? Mike here. We hate you donating so much time to trolls. I realize that, but it amuses me. And so, if this is my live stream, look. I like Bobby. I think that he's funny. Some of the things that he says, I mean, it's straight up Kiwi Farms. He's basically the secretary of Kiwi Farms, it seems like. But I'll entertain it. It's still fun. It's all good. Millionaire Money Manifester. It needs mods in here spending too much time on these trolls. They're time wasters. Better things to be doing. Yeah, but I've already read through most of the news because, The Trump rescheduling cannabis thing, that's just a throwaway news story because I already covered it this morning. So this is almost irrelevant. I did want to talk about it briefly, though. Trump is considering rescheduling cannabis. I would like to point out, we have reached an inflection point within our country. Somehow, the person that is trying to not put you in jail for having some weed is an near 80-year-old white Republican. The people that are trying to put you in jail for weed, and you have this from Massachusetts, Ohio, actually Vermont too, and this is like the farthest blue state you can get, they're trying to recriminalize it. So it is completely the opposite of what I experienced when I was younger. Used to be, liberals are saying, well, it's just a plant. It's just fucking weed. And the Republicans are like, no, it's the devil's lettuce. You're going to go to hell if you smoke it. Now, all of a sudden, the person that's championing this at the federal level is an old white male Republican who's almost 80 fucking years old. And the liberals, many of which who are considerably younger, by the way, are complaining about it and saying that they need to reschedule it and make it more illegal, or at least regulate it more. Mainly, it's because they want more taxation. But at the same time, it's still pretty funny now, isn't it? I can remember when the Democrats are saying, why should we be throwing people in jail for pot? Like Kamala Harris did over and over again, by the way, under the three strikes rule, actually, including up to felony charges. Oh my God, you had weed for the third time? Well, sorry, you've got felony charges. You're in jail for the next 10 years. This is retarded, by the way. Weed is not a problem. It should be decriminalized. I don't believe in even bothering to legalize it. At the federal level, yes. On the state level, just decriminalize it. Let people grow some weed, smoke the fucking weed. We could become a weed exporter if we really tried. People with any deal of property, can imagine how many weed plants I could grow on a property that's 2.5 acres, in size. That's a lot of weed. Trust me, I've seen the plants. You have weed grows all over Vermont, for example. They're all over the place. There's a couple of big ones up in Middlebury. There's one outside of Burlington. They have to have security fencing around them because otherwise people will come in and steal it. But, with a rather mild investment, and I'm sure you can get a bank to fucking cover that now that weed is legal here, it's not a big problem. It's just weed. Yeah, you smoked marijuana. Oh my God, you're a hardened criminal. It makes absolutely no sense. So I support Trump in trying to reschedule it. I think that is definitely the right and ethical thing to do. It's pragmatic. It saves money. It's ethical. It provides the possibility of exporting this particular substance. And I like to believe that the United States is capable of growing better weed than what you get in Europe. Because I've seen some of their weed when I was in the Netherlands. It's not that impressive, honestly. Also, British people apparently complain about that. They're like, oh, yeah, I came here to smoke marijuana. What is this? Yeah, well, fucking mate, I can't even go high off of it. This is actually a thing. This has been mentioned before. Shung Maris, sticks, we can go 3 Brazil. My uncle will let us stay in his 3-bedroom apartment. We'll eat Brazilian food, go to Copacabana Peach, pronounced Copacabana. I know how to pronounce that, don't worry. And get Brazilian pussy and butt. Beautiful women there. Hey, yeah, I'm on board. I'd love to see Brazil. The problem is the government there is socialistic, so that might be a little bit of a problem. I don't know if they would welcome me there. Skippy sticks, they don't want us to scrum it. They love us. Yeah, that was the new thing, scrommeting. So the idea is that all of a sudden there's this magical, mysterious new ailment where people who smoke weed, they vomit until they're literally screaming in pain. It's like, yeah, if you green out because you smoked a pound of fucking weed, it might be a little bit painful. This has been a thing for some time. All of a sudden you developed a new term for it. I wonder why you did that. It's linguistic warfare. It's propaganda. Celestial, take what you can, give nothing back. Yeah, scromiting. Oh my god. When I saw that article, I was like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Come on. Seriously? It's sort of like bird flu or COVID or something like that. There's this new public health crisis. Lock up your doors and get the drugs in. You know, Manchester's in the area. Some of you will get the reference, by the way. Vice City. Anyway. And now we have to talk about the bear crisis in Japan. Yes, indeed. This is a very interesting article, actually. It's talking about, Japan, the nation. They actually have a lot of bears, and I didn't know this when I was younger. I didn't know that there were bears there at all. But the bears keep coming down from the mountains and mauling people. They've had, I think, more bear attacks over the last few years than you've ever even seen in the United States. And the population is smaller, the land area is smaller, the area that the bears can inhabit is smaller, but yet they keep mauling people. They're extremely aggressive, it seems. I have a feeling, and this is because in the United States, at least among the black bear population, maybe not the grizzly bear population, we were cutting them down and destroying their habitats like Vermont. Most tourists don't know this. This is not old-growth forest that I'm seeing before me. All of this is within the last 100 years, maximum. The entire state was effectively cleared off in order to raise first cattle and then sheep for the textile industry. And then there were other things that were delved into. My mom, and she was born in the 60s, she can remember a time when most of the state was clear-cut, effectively. There weren't a lot of trees. All of this is recent growth for the most part. There are very, very few old trees in the state. And so bears became more sparse. They didn't have anywhere to live. They didn't have any forest. They had to go up into the tops of the mountains, the handful that were there. The other ones got killed off mainly, and so only the most reclusive and reluctant to interact with human bears, they're the only ones that survived, basically. And so they eventually repopulated as the forest grew, came down from the mountains, and now there are a lot of them. This hasn't been a problem because they've learned to fear humans. It doesn't appear that in this particular case, fear of humans was involved. In Japan, a lot of those, like, mountainous areas, they were never really clear-cut or anything like that, or at least not any time recently. The bears have grown resilient against humans. They are no longer afraid of them. This is causing more attacks. We're talking hundreds of attacks per year. This is considerable considering the relatively small area, the relatively small human population that's anywhere near these mountains. Those are pretty aggressive bears, actually. Seems like maybe a couple of them that weren't afraid of humans were the ones that mated the best, or something like that. They should go up and take care of that, but they don't seem inclined to do so. So, yeah. You've got literally hundreds of bear attacks a year in Japan. This is something, again, that I never knew actually was a thing. I didn't even know there were bears in Japan. CP Simple, deadly nightshade is just a plant. Shrooms are just a plant. False. Shrooms are a fungus. Peyote is just a plant. True. And it's fun to use, by the way. You think I haven't used mescaline? Shungman Ace. Long Beach Transit released a statement days ago apologizing for an ICE ad that they displayed. They blamed it on an oversight. How about they apologize for the COVID propaganda they displayed instead? That would require intelligence. No, CP Simple, mushrooms are not plants. They're in a completely different evolutionary kingdom. I am surprised that you do not know this. I realize that they grow kind of like plants, but the mushroom is really only the reproductive structure. The mushroom itself, the actual fungus, is down below in the hyphae. Shungmanes. My mom's sister married a Japanese man. My cousins are Brazilian Japanese. Come through Long Beach and get Brazilian Japanese fusion food. Clank, clank, clank. Brazilian Japanese food. That sounds fucking delicious, actually. Yeah, hell yeah. I'm down. Yeah, just, Jeff and Duran. Sticks, I saw a vid of you being arrested again. What's up with that? I got arrested. Then I got immediately released. That's because I am not a threat to others. The court determined this. I am not a threat to anyone around me. I am not insane. Well, I mean, I'm insane, but, not in that criminal way. And I do not intend to harm anyone or flee. So, yeah. Chris Williams. Razorfist did a recent video on the death of the West with declining birth rates, but did not mention whites in Latin America or North Africa. Yeah, that is an oversight that sometimes happens. People don't understand. There are plenty of people in Latin America that are massively Caucasian, that are practically pure Spanish. My ex-wife from Mexico, for example, was mestizo. She was predominantly of Spanish origin. She was not a colored person, as the Democrats would call it. Or person of color is their new term. It's the same thing, but, they've sanitized the term to try to fool people. She was blonde-haired, blue-eyed, with extremely white skin. She looked white enough that when we were talking to some old lady once, apparently she thought that I was the Mexican and that she was the Anglo-Saxon, actually. Because my hair is brown and my eyes are dark brown. So they thought that I was the Mexican and that she was the Anglo-Saxon and stuff. It was hysterical when she explained this to me. That was one of the funniest things I've heard in my life. I don't speak much Spanish, although I can say pendejo. Pinche pingüino. Yes, Mexicans. Ministry of Wrongthink. Did you see leftists bragging about the Cinnabon chick voting for Biden? They think they own the chuds because they sent money to a lefty. OMG, LMFAO. Yeah, I know that they're trying to take that as a victory, but really, it is an enormous L. Yeah, so you're saying that people standing on principle, believing that someone should not be fired for simply mouthing off against someone who's being blatantly disrespectful and hyper religious, by the way, in the process, saying, "Oh, you think that you dress that way, you reveal yourself sexually, that makes you a better person," and you think that it's a win that people have raised money for her. I would gladly raise money for her. She was being religiously persecuted by an Islamofascist. Islamofascists are only in the country because of leftoids. How is this a win for the left? It makes no sense. I don't know. John Doe, I have been married twice. My first wife was Mexican. My second wife was Dutch. Believe it or not, women actually like me. Sometimes this has become a problem, by the way. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I wish I was 10 times more ugly than I already am, so that, I'd be left alone and I wouldn't be able to get a date. Shung Manis, Sticks, Snakes Bleed Red, and Tenerife Crazy Trip confirmed. Pics or it didn't happen. We'll visit the town where Confederate soldiers fled to. That would be funny. They speak a weird dialect of Portuguese. One speak 7 tongues. Huh. That would be fun. Yeah, I know there's a Confederate town actually in Brazil where people that didn't want to be with the Union, they sort of formed their own society. I have heard about that. Yeah. Why not visit it? I'd love to see Brazil. Yeah. Maybe I'll plan that for the near future, actually. I mean, we'll have to coordinate it. You should, DM me on Twitter. We'll try to figure it out. If you want me to come down, yeah, I'd be more than interested in eating Brazilian food because I've never had it before. I think there were a couple of Brazilian restaurants, if I remember correctly, that were in Amsterdam when I was there, but that was, years ago. I think that there were. I know that there was at least one, but I think there were 2 or 3. And it always smelled good when I walked by the one that I can actually vouch for. Anyways, I'm going to go offline. It is Friday. That means that it is time to relax. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Cunt, Burl Ives. Yes, my former lawyer actually looks a lot like Burl Ives. And I'm going to be watching Year Without a Santa Claus later, narrated by Burl Ives. This is the way that I live my life. That's what I'm talking about. Peace out, my fellow pirates. Arr, matey. Bobby, he's going to get arrested again. LMAO. Yeah, for what? For making a live stream? Yeah, not likely. I'm not particularly worried. Don't worry. I mean, if I did get arrested again, if I really got thrown in the hoosegow, what would you do with your life, Bobby? Yeah, you'd be missing a live stream each day. You'd have to find somebody else to ramble about. That's about all. Peace out.